That person panicked and left. He didn't know what to do. He was so confused when he passed that he didn't know what was happening. He was just lying there like nobody found him. Had that person called 911 at that point, there were chances that your husband could have been saved.
Like, I feel like all the evidence and all that, if there was another person there, it's been wiped. Maybe we would have had a chance to find out, a little bit more if they would have found him a lot sooner.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, it's not really going to bring him back.
There's a very cooling sensation in the middle of my back. It almost feels like something happened in the back of the body. He did want to come back at some point. There's a very cooling sensation in the middle of my back. It almost feels like something happened in the back of the body. So I feel like when he was found, he was either lying on his back. There is this feeling of like something cold underneath him. I don't know how he died. I'm gonna ask those questions, but I'm getting this feeling like either he was lying on blood or on like something cold. Okay, so I'm just going to go with ice for now so that I can understand it better. When I'm saying his name, the person that is coming through, just let me know if he's the one. What I'm seeing is a man who was always quite jovial or funny, or like he was like a happy-go-lucky kind of a person, and he had this smile. Like, I don't know if it is the smile that you liked about him, but there was something about the way he smiled every time he spoke that was quite endearing, is what I'm seeing. I'm also seeing him wearing his shirt is always tucked in into his pants, and like there's a belt holding up his pants. So quite like strongly built, but he also had like a little bit of a stomach, or like a little bit of a fat around his stomach. Okay. And I'm also seeing that he was a very sturdy man. Okay. And he was showing me something checkered. Like, so I don't know if it is his shirt or his jacket, but like it's like a red and black.
He had like a checkered jacket before, but when he would roof.
What I'm being shown is checkered pattern on something that he's wearing. I don't know why he keeps describing his appearance to me. Like, he's showing me that, he always tucked his shirt in, like the boots, the pants. Like, I was picking up on these suede gloves that he would hang on the right side, or on the side of his waist, like into his belt or into his pants. Like, he would just like hang them, but I don't see him wearing those gloves very often. Like, I feel like he always had them, but they were made of suede or leather, which he had on himself. I don't know if this was how it was when he had left, or when you last saw him, but he's showing me that. Right? I'm also getting this feeling like even though he was normal for all purposes, there was something weighing on his heart. Like, there was a lot of emotion that he was carrying with him. I'm getting this feeling of some sort of a sadness. I don't know if it was grief, but it feels like there was a lot of sadness, because I'm feeling very heavy in my chest as I speak about him, and I'm getting this feeling he's been holding on to it for like a long time, like a lot of years. I don't know if it had to do with somebody's passing or something that happened he felt guilty, or he felt he couldn't let go of, but there's this feeling of heaviness in his heart. And even though he appeared to be smiling all the time, it was like a mask for his sadness, the way he spoke. So in his eyes, you can still see there was sadness.
I understand what you're saying. I mean, he's lost people throughout the years. At that time, we had a lot going on with our son, but it wasn't his passing. I mean, he was really sad about that, and he would cry a lot. Like, we've had a really rough year.
Okay.
Prior to leading up to him disappearing. With the belt and all that could be like a tool belt, like for roofing, maybe, because the checker jacket would be black and white. Before he went missing, he took his initial clothes off and he left them where I was. So I don't know if he found another jacket, or I don't know how long he was alive after I saw him. I'm never really going to know when he exactly died.
When they found him, right, what kind of clothes did he have on?
The thing is his body was decomposed. He was missing for 4 months. So they only were able to identify him through dental and his tattoos.
All right. But did he have anything to do with truckers or trucks or something? Because even yesterday, when I was connecting with his energies, I was getting this feeling of trucks or driving a truck or like somebody he knew who drove a truck or something to do with liking trucks. But I was seeing like a truck on like one of these highways.
Where his body was found was in Prince George. It was in the same town he went missing in. But someone was saying leading up to that he was inquiring about a truck, to be honest.
Okay.
Whether he got a ride in that truck or he stole the truck or whatever, I
All
don't
right,
know.
so let's find
Uh,
out because I kept getting truck and I was seeing like a highway and a truck and a place where a lot of trucks would pass because I am seeing
yeah.
there was some connection with him and a truck and I was also seeing the handyman part of it. Like I felt like he was very hands on, like he used his hands to work. So now when you're saying that he was inquiring about a truck, it makes sense because he keeps showing me a truck. I keep seeing him getting into the truck. I see him getting into the truck in the driver's side, not on the passenger side. So I don't know if he drove
Okay.
a truck, he rented one, or if he took one. Like you said, I'm not sure. Like he's showing me right now that he's getting into the truck. Okay. The feeling I'm getting is like he left. It wasn't like he was taken somewhere or he was called to some place. It feels like he was overwhelmed with such emotion that he just left. Like he thought he was going to go for a walk or like to just go away for like a day or two and then come back, but he didn't have the intention of never returning. Like it was never his intention not to return. He did want to come back at some point, but I feel like at that moment when he left, he was very overwhelmed and he just wanted to go for like a day or two, like just to have a day for himself to figure out why he's feeling so overwhelmed. But I'm seeing like at that point when he left, he was extremely heavy in his heart. Like there was a lot of emotion and this sensation on my back keeps coming back. Like, there's this cold spot in the middle of my back. I'm also being shown like lying in something wet and cold. So I'm assuming it's either cold water or ice or so it feels very like cold on my back.
I don't have the exact cause of death, but there's only really four ways he could have went. There was no trauma to his body.
I feel like when the test results come back, there will be some sort of a substance in the bloodstream. Like it could be either excess of alcohol or some sort of drug that was forced into his throat or he ingested it himself. But I'm also getting this feeling like it was forced in, like either the drug was given to him or he kind of took more than he should. I don't know about the other causes of deaths, but I do feel like in the toxicology report, you will get information about some sort of a substance in his bloodstream.
Yeah, which to be honest, like it could be like it was really cold too. So that's probably why you're getting the cold sensation. He was found in a trailer
Okay.
underneath the bed.
Okay.
So you might be feeling the cold because he was cold. Now, it would have been he has scarring on his heart. So hypothermia, heart attack, induced OD, or an OD. Now, the blood work came back, but the pathologist hasn't explained anything to me. He did drink the last time I saw him, but alcohol hasn't. No levels have come back, but fentanyl and methamphetamine has come back, but I don't know the levels and I still don't know the cause of death.
That is what I'm saying. So I feel like that there was an overdose of something, but I do feel like even though he wasn't drinking around that time of his passing, he might have been drinking either before that or like just a little before he took something else. See, the reason I'm saying that it could have been induced is because I do feel like there was somebody else involved in this, whoever the other person was. I don't think it was intentionally done. Like it wasn't like, oh, I have to murder this person. It wasn't like that. It was the feeling that I'm being given is they were doing something and then he was asked to take something. He took it. It didn't agree with him, and then he had a reaction to it, and the other person didn't know what to do, so he left. That's what I'm getting. Now, when you're saying that he was found in a trailer, I feel that the trailer was not his. Like it belonged to somebody else. I'm also getting
That's
a
right.
very messy
Yes.
trailer. Like I'm also also seeing the trailer was not very neatly kept. It feels like a messy trailer for some reason. And he keeps showing me that, utensils that haven't been washed for like a few days, or it could be that the sheets on the bed were like a bit messy and the bed wasn't made, something of that sort.
Yeah.
I'm being shown like a very skinny person, like someone who's malnourished, or like who's not eaten for days or something of that sort. But he looks very skinny and scrawny. And I'm also seeing like a Caucasian male. I don't know his exact age, to be honest, because of the way he looks. He might seem older than he is. I'm also seeing that that person panicked and left. He didn't know what to do. And he didn't report it as well. Like, he wanted to report it, but he was scared to report it because he thought he was going to be involved in it. So whoever the trailer belonged to was somebody your husband barely knew. It wasn't someone he knew very well. Like,
That's
it wasn't
true.
like a friend or anything of
He
that
did
sort.
it. It was, it was brand new trailers that he broke into, and they had run by it, like, I guess when the warmer weather started coming, but they didn't find him. And then when they did another sweep, the person who owned it was selling it, and then that's when they found him. But they found him in the trailer underneath the bed.
That is what I'm saying.
So
Whoever that
that's
person
why
was with him panicked and, either hid him and ran or something of that sort. But the person who was with him when he had OD'd or when he had taken the substance was not around. I don't think even now the cops have any idea of who that person is, but they kind of know that there was somebody else. Like, they don't know who exactly that person is. Like, I feel they haven't identified him yet. That person was someone who didn't take care of himself very much. It feels like your husband would have just got to him and asked him for something, and he said, hey, you want to do this, come with me, I'll take you. So it was like that. It doesn't feel like he went there intentionally, but had that person called 911 at that point, there were chances that your husband could have been saved. But he panicked and he left. Because of that, he's kind of involved, but he's not done that intentionally. That person, like, he just freaked out, like, because he was also high, and he left. Did the police also suspect that there was another person involved, like at the trailer they found him?
they haven't said anything yet. I actually just asked for the police report. So now I'm filling out the paperwork to do that. So I'm not quite sure.
And the reason your husband left was also, like I said, it was because he was feeling overwhelmed with a lot of emotions, and I think he just wanted to like drown it down. I see him going to a pub as well, like the day he left the house. I feel like he straight headed to a pub that he's very familiar with, because I'm seeing like a lot of brown inside the pub. Like, it feels like an older pub, not something new. The bar feels like it's got brown wood or something brown. Even the stools have like brown leather or brown rexine or something like that covering it. And it's quite like, those pubs that are old fashioned. It doesn't seem like a brand new pub. I feel like he went there, he had a few drinks, and then he started walking around, and then he thought like, let me just take a truck and just keep driving, because there's something about a truck that keeps coming up. So I feel like the next stop he made was in that place where he was inquiring about the truck, and then either he found a truck, or I see him getting into the truck, but he's not showing me if he drove it someplace. They're saying not too far, like he couldn't get away with it too far. Like, I think halfway through he just changed his mind and he brought it back or something of that sort. Like, he didn't want to get into trouble. So nobody knew the truck was missing because it was back before they knew it. So I don't think any truck was missing, or any reports of a missing truck had come up around that time, because I feel like he took off and then he came back because his conscience wasn't allowing him to like take it. And at that point he met this guy. So I feel like it's been about two days or 3 days after he left that he was alive. And then I think either on the day 3 or end of day 2 was when this overdose happened. So I feel like he had passed much before. I know he's been missing for 4 months, but I feel like the last 3 months or so, 3.5 months, he was just lying there, like nobody found him.
They told me that it's pretty much 48 hours from when he disappeared is when he died. But I don't have proof of that. And unless we see him on camera somewhere, the coroner's going with May 29th.
The last thoughts that he's giving me was like, I shouldn't have left. I should have spoken to somebody about it. Like, the feeling he's giving me, Kristyn, is that when he left, or before he left, even though he had all these emotions and feelings, he didn't want to kind of burden you with it. So he never really spoke about it. He was not someone who liked talking about his feelings because he felt like that's not a manly thing to do, like to talk about emotions or cry about it or things of that sort. And more than that, he didn't want to worry you. He felt like you had a lot going on. So he didn't want to like burden you with his emotions and whatever he wanted to share with you. So he wanted to deal with it by himself. So now when he's like the last minutes of his passing, he's telling me I should have spoken about it. I shouldn't have left. I should have at least said something to Kristyn. Like it feels like he should have at least said that this is something was overwhelming him and you guys could have figured it out. But he feels like again there's a conflict going on, saying if I did tell her, she would have worried more. He didn't want to. So that is why he left. It was not that he didn't love you or he didn't love the family. He left because there was too much going on in his mind and he didn't know how to deal with it. Okay. So
yeah, it does. I mean,
yeah, so he did not die alone. Like that person was there. But yeah, the last moments, that guy wasn't there. He left because he panicked. So in that way, he wasn't really alone, but he was alone in the last moments because he couldn't move. I'm getting this feeling like he was lying on something cold. I don't know if the floor was metallic or if there was no carpeting or something like that, because I'm feeling a very big cold spot in the middle of my back. And it feels like he didn't have his jacket on. Probably he removed his jacket to sit in the trailer. I'm not sure, but it feels like there was barely anything protecting his skin from the coldness of the metal, but it feels cold and wet for some reason. That's what he felt. Like, you know, when you're lying down and you feel the cold of the floor coming through your back, it feels like that. That is why I didn't know if it was ice or water, because that is what I felt. And I also felt like it was induced because I think that he would have never done that particular drug before, and he was given something that he probably didn't take before or didn't take in a very long time. And based on his physical health, because when he was showing me himself before, I felt like he was not very healthy, like because I see like, you know, visceral fat around his abdomen. So I feel like he wasn't in his best of shape, like not physically very fit. So, or he didn't know about not being healthy, because whatever he took kind of triggered the heart attack. What he's showing me is like he panicked. When he took it, he panicked, and that panic kind of triggered the heart. It's not like he had a heart attack because of that substance, but the moment he took it, whatever the, you know, the psychedelic effect of that drug made him panic, and the panic triggered the heart attack is what I was getting. So it was something he never did before, and the person kept saying, no, you should try it, this is like new, and you know, so he just took it. Like he just wanted out of his mind. He wanted like to temporarily check out in his mind, and that is why I feel like he's taken that. Others he wouldn't have. Like he's not somebody who would generally do drugs all the time. That's not the feeling I get. Like at least not before he passed. If he did drugs when he was younger, that's a different thing. But I feel like over a period of time, he became a bit more responsible for the way he is. So I don't think he was doing drugs before he passed. Like maybe alcohol, but I don't see him taking any hard drugs. He's telling me, no, but once in a while I did weed, you know. So I don't know if he smoked up a little bit here and there in his past, like, but he says he's never taken hard drugs. Like he's not taken any of these drugs that you were mentioning from the toxicology report.
When he gets wrapped up in other people's things, he ends up doing drugs and stuff, but he had been clean for about 3 months. That's why this OD is that induced his heart attack or whatever is serious. I mean, because the drugs are so strong, you know, and he hadn't used in a long time. So that's probably where you're getting that gap from. But he's always struggled, you know.
So I think he panicked, and the panic induced the heart attack because he was already, you know, so stressed with the emotions that it kind of all led to that. Okay, so even when reports come back, they might tell you that there was some substance in his bloodstream, but ultimately it was a heart attack that took him. This is what he's trying to explain to you. Even if that is what doctors will say, it was the panic that I had that caused the heart attack.
When he gets wrapped up in other people's things, he ends up doing drugs and stuff, but he had been clean for about 3 months. That's why this OD is that induced his heart attack or whatever is serious. I mean, because the drugs are so strong, you know, and he hadn't used in a long time. Yeah. So that's probably where you're getting that gap from. But he's always struggled, you know.
And he never meant to be away from home for more than like a day or two. He's also saying that he did this once before, like he went away for like a day or two and he came back. Did that happen before?
He left a week prior to when he actually disappeared, and he left for like a day and a bit. and he came back. So that is true. Somebody told me that he was talking about taking a truck. That's where the truck could have come in. He had a warrant for his arrest. So he asked me to go back into this place to get something because of this altercation that happened between, well, really me, him, and somebody else. So he told me to go inside. When I went inside, somebody told me that they saw him not actually smoke something, but they obviously just assumed that he did something that made him drop. A police officer came, put his hand on his shoulder, said, "Please stand up. Are you okay?" And then that's when he realized and was hoping, which where the panic is, right? Because he has a warrant for his arrest. So he changed his outfit. Plus, if he like laid down, it was cold. So he changed his clothes and he left. Yeah.
So you wouldn't have
Yeah,
seen him
he
for
just
like
did
three
that
days
like
because he has that
yeah, like a
pattern of
week
going and
before.
coming.
Yeah, he does. Not typically like over, but a lot, like I said, a lot's happened up until like, him panicking, all that, him needing to like there was a warrant for his arrest. Apparently someone saw him like drop outside of this place and the police stopped and made sure that he was okay and he got up and he probably changed his disguise, took his clothes off. I know that's what he did and then left on the intentions I'm coming back. Like I had it all set that day. I had tickets for us to leave. I had the money. I had it all.
Yeah. So I feel he panicked.
Right. So, and I looked for him like for 4 months on the street, like every day, all night.
No, I understand.
And it nearly almost costed me my own life, right? So I needed to like pull up and just come back to my life. And, and since then, things have kind of been looking up, besides the fact that I was then notified that he has been gone with
Yeah.
still no answers, really.
I'm gonna ask if there are any
Is he okay?
messages for you and the kids he's left behind. All right. He keeps saying, "I'm sorry, I left. I shouldn't have left. I'm sorry, but I panicked." That the panic is coming through very, very strongly, and he keeps saying, "I'm sorry, Lynn." I don't know if he called you Lynn and not Kristyn.
He had a nickname for me,
Does it
but
sound
it's not
somewhat
Lynn.
similar to Lynn?
It's
Because
like with an N.
because I'm getting like a 3-letter word or a 4-letter word. It's short, but it rhymes with Lynn or like it sounds like Lynn. So there's an N in Lynn also, right? He's like, "I'm so sorry, Lynn." That's what
It's weird. It is a 3-letter word. It is a 3-letter word, and it's none.
Okay, so it sounds like Lynn, right? Because when he's saying it, I'm
But
like,
there is an N in it.
when he's saying, "I'm sorry, Lynn," I'm hearing it as Lynn because that is what I know your name to be. But it could be Nun because Lynn and Nun have sounds the same to me in my head at least.
Yeah,
He keeps saying, "I'm sorry," and he says, "I panicked. I panicked." Like he's doing this, like I panicked. His hand gestures, like I don't know why he's doing this, like I panicked, like as if he's even now panicking about what happened. Right? That is what I'm getting through. He keeps saying sorry and he says, "I know you will do a good job raising the kids by yourself and I know I should have been there." But he's like, "I'm really sorry." Like he keeps saying sorry so much. Like it feels like he's very guilty about what happened. And he's also saying like he regrets a lot of things he has done in the past. Not just with you, but like the situations he's put your family in. Like it feels like he made certain decisions or choices that led to complicated situations in the family that put him in trouble, but also put your family in trouble. And that was cause of the friction between all of you in the family. It feels like the son who you said you all had a difficult time with, he hated it. Like he hated the fact that he was in that family. Like he's telling that the reason our son behaved the way he did was because I think he hated being in this kind of a family. Like he's also saying, "I couldn't provide the way I wanted to provide." He says that he should have made better decisions in his life. And he's also talking about his mom. I don't know if there's a strained relationship with her. He keeps telling me that there was a strained relationship that he had with his mom as well. Like there was this, like the trouble he got into kind of messed with the relationship he had with his mother as well. Like there's a lot of anger between everybody in the family for some reason. Like he's showing me a lot of friction, a lot of anger, a lot of frustration as well. Anger not directed directly to him, but anger with him for putting y'all in those situations. Y'all never hated him. He knows that y'all never hated him for what he did, But at the same time, there was a lot of anger that he was responsible for a lot of things that happened. So he's saying he's very sorry for that. He should have, chosen differently or done differently. But he's also telling me that he felt like he wanted to take a lot of shortcuts in life. Like he wanted to get rich faster, or like he invested in things, or he got with the wrong crowd just to, make a quick buck. It feels like there was a lot of unnecessary, complicated decisions he had made, which if he hadn't and he focused on his work of roofing or whatever the business that he had, he would have slow and steadily grown. But he was not someone who liked doing a lot of hard work. He felt like, he should use his wit or intelligence to make a quick buck. So he got into with all the wrong people. That complicated a lot of things for him, is what I'm seeing. He keeps saying sorry. Every time I'm asking him for a message, he's like, just tell her I'm sorry. Like, he's now looking at his entire life and what has led up to his death, and he feels like had he just stayed straight and narrow, and if he had just kept doing what he was doing, he would have actually had a longer life with you and the kids, and it wouldn't have been as complicated. He keeps telling me that you are the one who actually kept the family together. Like it feels like you were the strength or the pillar trying to put all the pieces back together, is what he's showing me. He's showing me you, and he's showing me like you're putting these, the cardboard boxes are falling apart, and you're like kind of like putting it back and making it a house. So he's showing me that she was the one who picked up all of the pieces and put them together. There's a lot of regret right now. Okay, but he's very sorry about that, and he's also saying that he had promised many times that he would change, but he says that somehow he felt like he couldn't let go of not wanting to make that quick buck, so he was easily influenced by people who would tell him that, if you do this, then we can make a lot of money out of it, and that would get him going. So he also wants you to tell the kids that he loves all of them very much. I'm seeing that your sons, I'm seeing like different heights. So I feel like there are still a couple of kids who are still younger, like probably teenagers, or like probably in tens, and I'm seeing older children like 16, 18 also. I'm not sure if that is correct, but I'm seeing I wouldn't say blonde hair, but dirty blonde. Is that like, do your sons have like dark brown hair, or like?
Yeah, my son's like, we have a son that is 6 that we share, and he has dirty blonde hair right now.
What about his?
But he has 3 other sons that are 26, 17, and 16.
All right,
like coming into this year, like.
Yeah, so
he has 4 boys, and then I have a daughter in another relationship. So
alright. So I'm getting like all his 4 sons, but especially the older ones, right? Because I feel like there was a lot of time that he did not spend with them. Like I feel that he spent more time with his younger son than he did with the older ones. So he wanted them to know, and I don't think he expressed how much he cared for them. So he wants them to know that he did really love them, and that whatever he did it for them. But as he's saying that, he's also feeling guilty about it. He's saying that I didn't want to do these things to get myself in trouble or get you into trouble, but I really thought if I did make more money, then my children would be more proud of me. Like it feels like he did it for his kids more than for himself. He wanted to give them a life that he didn't have growing up. It almost feels like the older one feels more distant, like the boy who's 26. He feels like he's distant from his father, the teenagers, right? So I feel like, I don't know which one of them, but one of them has a lot of anger. Like, I don't know if they're both kids who got anger issues, but one of them has more of an anger issue than the other. And I feel like the older one, the 26-year-old one, has distanced himself from the family quite earlier on. And he keeps saying that I should have kept everyone together. Like, I should have been responsible for keeping them together, because I feel the distance grew because of his actions and the way he had treated them. So the anger is towards the father. So he wants them to know that he did whatever he did because he loved them and he wanted to give them a better life. And it was not for selfish reasons. It was not like he wanted to get rich. He wanted to give the family and be the provider, which he feels like he's failed doing, So that is something that is coming out of guilt as well. But he feels like your son, he feels like he spent enough quality time with him rather than his own sons. And he feels like your son knows he loves him. He's specifically talking about his other boys, and he's saying, I want them to know that I really loved them. That I wasn't there for them, and I'm sorry for not being there and being so preoccupied by trying to make a quick buck that I got myself into trouble and I was not available for them. So that is something that he wants them to know. He also wants you to know that he adores your daughter, like even though she's not his, he feels like it doesn't matter. He still loves her equally like he loves your son together, right? He looks at her like she's a 10-year-old, like because the word 10 keeps coming up. So I feel like the love that he gives the younger one, the 6-year-old, he gives the same kind of love to her. So it makes me feel like she's younger than 10. Like he treats her like she's like a small child. So he wants you to know that he really accepted her. I don't know why he's saying that, but I feel like at some point you might have had that doubt in your mind that would he really accept her as his own child? But he did. That is what he wants you to know. Like he never differentiated between her and his kids, and he wants you to know that even she knows that he loved her. So he wanted you to know that he loved her. It's not for your daughter, it's for you to know that he loved her. Okay, that's another message I'm getting. And he's not really worried about how you're going to figure out things, because he knows that you're a very strong woman and you will figure things out. And he says, if the boys want to leave, let them go. Don't worry about that. Like there is this feeling like when they come of age, like when they turn 18 or something, they might want to leave and go away. He's saying it's fine, it's okay, let them go, because he's going to look after them in spirit. Don't take it upon yourself to be responsible for them and their lives. It's fine, they will be taken care of. I'm going to make sure of it. That's what he's saying. He's not worried about you taking care of the house. He says like she's got everything ready. She's got everything set. Like I'm not worried about how she's going to take care of the kids, because I know she will. He's showing me that you are someone who's very organized, like who has a plan of action for everything. So he says like I wasn't much of a planner, she was the planner. That's what he's telling me, saying that you are the one who used to plan everything, even the vacations or the outings. You were responsible for it. Like you were responsible for how much expenditure would go out for that particular thing. Like it feels like you are the organizer and he was the spender. Like it feels like he never really cared about anything as much. He was like, yeah, as long as we're going out, doesn't matter where we're going. But you were like, no, we have to go to this place, we have to stay here, we have to do that. So he's saying she was the one who's always taken care of everything. So I don't know why she's worried about taking care of the kids, because she's already got everything sorted. So he's not worried about that at all. He knows that you will give them the education, the love, the affection, the care, whatever they need, and then you will let them go, because each one has their own journey. He says that I've never seen a woman as strong as you. Like he admires your strength. Like he feels like if it wasn't for you, he would have fallen apart a long time back, or he would have been in jail by now. It was because of you that he had many chances to kind of reorganize his life and get better, but he kept messing up. And he says, I'm sorry for that. I should have listened, is what he's saying. He also comes across very childlike. He's telling me that you used to get irritated with him like you would with one of the kids. Like there was this feeling of like mothering him, like, saying like, don't do that. Why do you always do that? Like he's showing me, why do you always leave your boots there? It's all muddy and like, so it's something like that. Like he keeps showing me boots in front door, and he would probably just walk in and be mad at it, like, saying like, please clean your boots before you walk into the house, just wipe them on the mat or something of that sort. He says she used to shout at me like she would shout at one of the kids, because I used to drive her nuts. Like he was just one of these teenage boys, just lounging around and like not doing much. And he's like, I gave her such a hard time. I should have done more in the house. It feels like he loved his beer. Like I keep seeing beer. Like I keep seeing a bottle of beer in his hand every time he sat on the couch. I'm seeing like at some point you did mother him quite a bit, and he says if I had only listened to her, I would have been in a better place, but I hadn't, and I messed up. Many times I promised her that I would change, but I didn't. So he's very sorry about that. Like he says, I keep getting carried away. Every time I hear like someone come up with a good scheme, I would get carried away, because I would think that if I gave a lot of money, or if I brought in a lot of income, then life would have been different, or life would have been better. Whatever he did for the family is what I'm saying. It was not for selfish reasons. It was not like, oh, I would make a lot of money, then leave my family and go have a good life, right? It wasn't like that. It was for the family. He wanted everyone to be comfortable. He didn't want any sort of lack, because I feel like he had a very tough life growing up. He didn't have a lot of things, and he didn't want that for his children. He wanted to provide. He wanted to be the provider, because somewhere I think he felt like he was not being a good provider. That is why he
Yeah.
got into all of these things, So that is what is coming through. I hope that information resonates with you.
Yeah, it definitely does. So is he like with me? Like just like
At the moment, he's still processing a
or
lot of
no?
things because his death was so sudden and unexpected. He is in a space where he is processing like a lot of things that he did in his life. So it's like, for a lack of a better word, he's undergoing judgment. Like he's reviewing his life. Like he is with these
Okay.
beings of light that are very lovingly showing him what he had done in his life and what he could have done better. So there's like a life review going on. That is where like a lot of information is coming through regarding his regrets and about what he could have done and should have done, kind of a thing. So he's in that phase right now, but he is still connected to the earthly realm. He's not completely passed over into the spirit realm, because if he was, then it would have been very blurry, the image of him. I wouldn't have been really able to connect with him. A lot of spirits, once they pass, they want to be connected to their families for a while. So after the life review is done, he will probably go through something called the spirit hospital, again for lack of a better word. All those imprints of trauma and all of that would be released from his soul, so that he'll feel better and he'll be in a better place. He's already in a better place. He's not, feeling any of the pain or any of the emotions or anything, but there's a lot of regret. So he's working through that. Like he's working through his life lessons right now. He's trying to understand what he could have done and why he was there in the first place and what his life was supposed to be like. So the review is going on at the moment. So once he finally finishes that, he's going to be taken to a place where his soul is going to be put at peace, at rest. Like he's going to feel better. He's also telling me, like, did he have a grandfather that he was very close to?
Yeah, I believe his
Because
mom's
because he's telling me
father.
that his grandfather is with him, so he's not alone. His grandfather's with him. You don't have to worry about where I'm at and what's happening with me, because I'm fine. Paps or pops, he's with me, right? Like I'm seeing like a grandfather figure with him along with the other light beings. So he's in a good place. It's not like he's suffering or anything of that sort. He's just trying to understand what his human life was like before he disconnects completely from the physical reality and goes into the spirit side, right? He's trying to like kind of review all of the lessons of what this life taught him. And once he understands that, he will still be available to communicate with at a later point. But right now, he needs to kind of rest. Like his soul needs to release those imprints of the trauma that he had gone through, like what he put himself through more than anything else. All the pain, all the suffering that he's caused for himself. Like it was not an external thing. He made choices that led him to that suffering. So he needs to understand that and let it go. So he says it's going to take a little while. I don't know if he called you babe as well, because like, babe, I'm always going to be there for you no matter what. That is what he's saying. Like it doesn't matter where he is, but he's always going to be there. Like he's saying, if you need me, you just have to call out and talk to me and I will be there. Okay. And he's also saying that once he has enough strength to like communicate with you, he might show up as a gentle breeze. Like when you talk to him or when you like ask him questions, there could be like a light breeze, or like a caress of a breeze. That is what he's saying. Like it's like you'll feel like the wind is caressing you. Like there's going to be like a wind that will flow. And he's also saying it's going to be cold wind. It's not going to be warm wind. So he's like, please make sure that it's going to be cool wind. Like he's also saying that he's showing me a flower. I don't know if you liked a particular flower. He showed me a white flower. I don't know what that white flower is, but I don't know. Like I'm very bad with flower names. But is there a white flower that you liked, or do you have a backyard in the place where you're staying?
There is a backyard here, yeah.
Okay. So he's saying that suddenly, if you don't have any flowering bushes or any sort of flowering plants, he's saying that after a while there will be a plant that will grow there which will give you white flowers. He's saying that's him. He's going to send a sign like that, right? So I don't know if you already have a bush that gives you white flowers. I'm not sure, but he's showing me like right behind this window. Is there like another room, or like
Yeah.
there's a backyard?
It's outside. It's out
Yeah,
in the
because he's
backyard.
showing me like right behind this window, there's gonna be like very closer to the window, there's gonna be like a flowering plant that would give you white flowers. And he's saying that that's a sign that will tell you that he's all right finally, like he's in a better place. So when the flowers start coming out, he's saying expect it around springtime. I need some time, but expect it around springtime is what he's saying. So I don't know if there's already a flower bush there, but if it starts giving you white flowers, he wants you to know that it's a sign from him telling you that he's in a better place right now. Is there like a song that was a favorite for the two of you? And it sounds like a country western song like this. Like I'm seeing like
Country,
country music.
country strong.
There's a song that
Give in to me. It's called. Well, the movie's called Country Strong,
okay, but was it like a country
but
song?
it's called Give It. Yeah, it's the movie Country Strong, but the song is called Give In to Me.
Okay, so I
If
feel
that
like,
makes sense.
yeah. So he's telling me about a country song, and he's saying that she will know what I mean by that. Like it's a song both of you shared, or the memories around that song for the two of you. And he says that every time it comes up on radio, or if like by chance somebody's playing it, to know that he's the one who's playing it for you. So, and I'm getting goosebumps when he's saying this. There's like this chill all over my body. Like it feels like a very huge confirmation, and my eyes are actually tearing up because I feel that it's the love he has for you will come through when that song plays. So every time, like say if you turn on the radio when you're backing up your car, or like when you're driving somewhere, and the first thing that you hear is that song, it's a sign for you to know that he's with you at that point. So that song is something that's coming up. See, he's saying red roses, and he's also saying that you never liked red roses. It's not her favorite flower. Like she finds it very cliched, red roses, you know. So it's not something that she really likes getting. But he says, I'm going to keep sending her roses. So I don't know if you'll find rose petals, or you're going to find, like, I think he liked giving you roses, but you never really liked roses, but you never openly said that you don't like roses. But now, because he's on the other side, he knows all this. So he's like, I know she never really liked roses because they were very cliched. I should have given her something else, which was more like exotic or meaningful or something like that. He says, I'm still going to keep sending her roses, is what he's saying. So I'm saying like you might find rose petals on your doorstep, or like when you're walking down the road, there might be like a bud of rose fallen down, something of that sort. Again, he's saying that's a sign. So it's very strange because, you know, for many people who ask me questions like this, they get different types of signs, and I've never heard of rose petals before. So that's interesting. So if you do find, do let me know if that happens.
Okay.
Yeah. No, he needs to go now though. He says they're like working on him. So he says, I would love to sit and chat, but I need to go. He feels like a bit weak now. Like it feels like he took a lot of his energy to tell me all of these things, and he's now feeling relieved. Like he's relieved, like it's off his chest. Like he's relieved that he's able to tell you all of this. And he keeps saying, I'll see you around. I don't know if that is what he used to say when he left, but he says, I'll see you around. By that he means like he'll send you all these signs and you will know that he's around. All right. I hope the information that you received today was something that will give you some peace, and and you'll know more once you hear from the coroner and what he talks about the cause of death. So that'll kind of confirm a lot of things. But when he left his body, he didn't know that he had died. And so when the guides are with him now and his grandfather is with him now, they're trying to help him understand what's happened. So it's going to take a little while for him to get there, to understand and comprehend everything, assess his life, and then he's going to be at peace. But I can tell you for a fact that he doesn't feel that heaviness anymore. He feels free. He feels relieved. That is something that he does feel. Even as someone who's a psychic medium, no matter how much information I give you about your loved one, it's not going to take away the pain. It's not. I mean, it's not. It's just probably will give you some sort of a closure or some sort of a understanding to wrap your head around, but it won't take away the pain. So I'm deeply, deeply sorry for your loss. And I can't even imagine not knowing what happened to someone you love, how they passed, what were the last few hours like. It's devastating. So my heart goes out to you. I'm so sorry, and sending you lots of love and light to get through this particular difficult situation. But he has full faith in you that you are going to get through this. He's like, I've never seen another woman who's as strong as you. So that is something that he wants you to really hold on to, because that is what he thinks you are.